Hello, everyone. It is season 13. Unlucky for some, but not unlucky for us. And we are going to be racing on F1 at 2025 in the not too distant future. Alex, I have forgotten when the start date is, but because we don't do any outtakes here, could you enlighten me, please?
2 weeks, 2 weeks
Thank
time.
you
Don't
very
you
much.
worry.
We do this in one take, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, on with the show. Yeah, F1 2025 fan. I've only played it for about a week or so, and I must admit I quite like it, Alex. But I'm not what you call a classic driver, as I really can't drive at all. But from a man who's won 3 Grand Prix in gold, for a man who's driven in umpteen races in ALR over the years, then what do you make of the game so far?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Feels pretty good. So I'm looking forward to seeing how gold, silver, and bronze, and of course the returning 100% league are going to fare then in just a couple of weeks' time.
Absolutely, and I'm also back at 100% as well, which I cannot wait. Of course, we will talk about the all the driver lineups in just a few moments' time, which is actually the best part of the season, from my opinion. I do love the old Wheel of Fortune, or the Wheel of Misfortune, depending on your point of view. It's sadly, I think it was Jake Slayer that got me as his teammate last year, but luckily for Slayer, I'm not a part of the bronze Motley crew this season. I don't know why that is, Alex, but I think it's something to do with the new admins of bronze will do want a ginger guy in there potentially. But anyway, on to the more serious note then of Formula One 2025. You mentioned about 100% coming back. Then of course, we've also got bronze, silver, and gold coming back as well. And you also mentioned about the new game as a whole. Then, what you've been doing some practice sessions, of course, as I'm going to call it, testing, because let's be honest about it, we're a very official league, Alex. But what do you make about the testing so far then? Because you and a couple of other drivers have been very much working out the kinks. Then, have you seen anything that you're thinking, oh, that guy looks pretty good, or oh my gosh, there's a guy that's going to struggle? What have you made about the testing so far?
Yeah, I think everyone's been jumping quickly onto it. To be fair, it's looking pretty good. The one who's struggling is me, so that's fine. But no, I think everyone's done a good job then so far, just sort of adapting to the new game, obviously, which it always is every year. And yeah, I think that's what we're going to see, especially in the first few rounds of the season, at least, maybe even a bit longer, depending on how quick people can adapt. But yeah, there'll be that through the season as well, which is going to be great.
Do you have any spoilers then about who you think is going to be doing what this season? To be honest, I'm not going to try and do any spoilers this year. I think I said in the season review, didn't I, about a couple? But I'm going to try my best not to jinx anyone. But who have you thought that's actually maybe is a far from maybe a dark horse, or as far going to get relegated? Who in the testing sessions do you think actually? I think that Lucas Person might be back on top, for example. Is there anyone out there that you think this is going to be their year?
Well, as usual, I'm terrified of Ginger Rage because just blistering pace as per sort of thing. But no, I think I don't want to jinx anybody. Let's just put it that way. But there's some very very quick drivers. There's a lot of people who look like they've improved quickly as well. Then onto this game as well, which is really good to see. Obviously. And then there's a lot of people, or just one person really, that's like me, who's just useless. But so yeah, I'm going to be in your club this time, so this season. So yeah, looking forward to that.
How dare you? My club's Absteen Company. I was 13th, I think, in the championship last year. Yeah, good me. Anyway, but that's probably because a lot of people retired. Anyway, on to the calendar as well then. Of course, we've got two different calendars as such, then, for 100% and gold, silver, and bronze. Of course, 20 races return on the calendar this year then, and I think it's 18 races for 100% as well. So, of course, we only had 16 races last year. Do you think that's going to be a major sticking point? I did make a massive deal out of it being only 16 races last season. Now I'm going to make a massive deal about it being 20 races then, Alex. So basically, whatever I say, whatever happens, then I just think it's going to be a mega turning point in the championship this year. But 20 races this season, do you prefer that, or do you prefer the more shortened calendar?
I think it'll be better than last season, just in terms of obviously the changes that we'll see throughout the season. There's more races naturally, so there's going to be, I think, a bit more time again as it's a new game for people adapting, people changing their pace, their level throughout the season, which is going to be more interesting to see as well. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think, like I said, it's going to be I think a better season than having a longer calendar. That is just generally because I think it's better be back to our basics. Yeah, I think it'll be good. But I don't know what other else to think. What do you think?
It doesn't matter what I think. Well, because let's be honest, you can hear what I think all the way through the season, to be honest. I do love sharing an opinion. But on with the show, I reckon, then, Alexander, because I think the drivers are probably all prepped and ready to go in those comments as well. And there better be some comments coming in, otherwise I'll be shaking my fist. So we're going to be getting on with the driver draw in just a few moments' time. Away with the draw. And here we go then. So it's going to be 100% then. It's going to be first then. And of course, there's no going to be driver draw for 100%, of course, because it is 100% is also the realistic league then. That's basically one the same, really, isn't it? Of course, it's going to be based on the 2025 car performances. And this has been very much under the microscope for Coop and, of course, Lucas Percy with the new head of admins as well of that championship. And there they are on screen for you right now, of course. So the fastest car, I believe, is the McLaren Mercedes, I believe, Alex, and then it's Red Bull, and then goes down from there. And I must admit, it kind of goes up and down for me because sometimes I think actually the Kicks hours are slow and all that kind of stuff. But you can see then we got Serious Mushroom and Ginger Rage in the Red Bull, unlucky Mushroom, Reflections and Brooksy. We've got Vintage Styles. We got Marquis Coupe, Knowlesy and Legends in the Haas. Oh, lovely. Williams, we got R2 Beat. And I must admit, Alex, we got everyone else as well. Anyway, we're going to bronze then for now. Then, as you can see, basically, as you can tell, I thought I had a lot more time, but we haven't, have we? Then, but as I said, Alex, no outtakes here. Onto the wheel then. Of course, 10 teams this season, and thank goodness, Alex, it is Red Bull, not Red Bull. It is Racing Bulls, not RB, and thank goodness for that because RB is the worst name in F1 history, and there has been a lot of bad team names, hasn't there, in Formula One, but this is a beautiful team, and it is the Ferrari, and I quite like the white stripe on the Ferrari, to be honest. Of course, main sponsor now of the of HP as well, which I think was actually more last season. HP, not HB. What's HB? I don't know, to be fair. But the Ferrari team then is the first off the wheel then for bronze. Of course, Ferrari have had a bit of a love-hate relationship with bronze, but they were the Constructors' champions not last season, the season before. There are 20 drivers then on the wheel. Let's give that a spin. Around it goes. First driver off the board is a former Grand Prix winner. It is Winnie then. Of course, we always mention about Winnie, and he's only allowed to, when he's allowed to practice, he is very quick then, Winnie, as well. I think that it depends on how Winnie performs, because it seems to only, he performs well, but only on certain races then. So if we can get that consistency in, which we're going to be saying a lot of that word, I think, in this broadcast, then it's certainly going to be one to watch then. And Smithy Almighty has been a Constructors World Champion now for the past 3 seasons, Alex said. He seems to get a lot of the rub of the green in the Constructors. And look at that, we've got even movable graphics as well, Alex. Oh, goodness me, you're getting good at this.
I do try, but there we go, a formidable lineup. Then 2 friends as well, then Winnie and Smithy then for the first team in bronze.
That's absolutely fantastic. And of course, Smithfield might have gone for 4 Constructors' Championships as well, which I think is actually joint highest now with, I think it's Troy actually, who's got 3 championships in gold, I believe. Next off the board is the Williams, and of course, Williams Mercedes. The Williams team have got quite a rich history in bronze as well, haven't they, if I'm very much mistaken. Then, of course, they have 3 Drivers' Championships, and they have 2 Constructors' Championships in bronze. Fantastic stuff indeed then, of course, with 15 wins as well. First off the board is a returning Stephen Anthony. I'm so glad to see this young man back out. Of course, he might still be changing nappies, Alex, but goodness me, he is also a very quick customer on the circuit as well. It's great to see Stephen Anthony back, isn't it? I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah, very consistent, very good driver as well then, so looking forward to seeing, although he did say he was going to change his name to Dadbod88. But yeah, we'll see how that goes throughout the season. And Dynamo Dan, then second driver for the Williams team, then alongside Dadbod88 as well.
As two drivers that potentially, I feel, that can be, they can certainly be in it to win it. Then for the drivers' championship, of course. I keep having to remind myself, Anthony's only raced 16 times in bronze. Of course, Dynamo Dan really got back to his best last season. There are some flashes of brilliance for Dynamo Dan, and I feel that this season as well, he's going to be one of the favourites. Next off is probably the best looking car on the grid, in my opinion, Alex. I do love a bit of pink, and a bit of blue and pink is fantastic. It is, of course, the French machine. It's the Alpine. Of course, Alpine, in terms of bronze, they've had one drivers' championship. No, they've had two drivers' championships, and they've had one bronze championship as well. And only one of four teams in the bronze history to have a 1-2, Alex. I bet you didn't know that. Serious, you can tell what I've been doing over the summer. Yeah. I know. Serious Mushroom is first off the board. Then, of course, a man who always seems to be about an ALR, make his 102nd Grand Prix start in the first race of the season down under in Australia. Of course, he's already had a Grand Prix win. I think he's had a couple of Grand Prix wins in his whole career of ALR, but he's only had one so far in bronze. And Mr. Elite is next off the board. It was his first season last season for Mr. Elite that he makes his 18th Grand Prix start. And Mr. Elite there does get to the checker flag more often than not. Only one DNF there in his first 17 races, which is pretty good, Alex.
Just to say that these stats were taken from his bronze career, not his whole ALR career.
Yes,
Mr. Elite and Mushroom, to be fair, have both been around for a long, long time. But a formidable team that is for the Alpine machine. It
is indeed. You can tell, I'm a stickler for stats, but that's not the all-time stats. I do it by division because, we can't compare apples and oranges, can we? Well, I can't anyway, because let's be honest about it, I'm a big orange. And Alex, I think you're more of an apple, aren't you? Or are you banana?
I was going to say you're definitely an orange, so there we go. So that'll do.
It's King Sauber off the board, isn't it? I got so King Sauber. They've won. They've not had any drivers' championships, but they did have a constructors' championship. Rosa Sky, I must admit, I'm very happy to see this young man making the step up into a full-time role. Then for a Grand Prix start for Rosa, and he's also had a podium as well. So he's making his full-blown debut then. Coming up at this season as well. You Mad Bro, of course, a Grand Prix winner in multiple categories of coal boat and in bronze. Of course, a one-time Grand Prix winner. He's had 5 podiums, but You Mad Bro has been far from his best, though, over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, hopefully he can bounce back then. This game, obviously, it's a new game for him as well. So, we'll see what he can do. And Rosa, of course, he did a fantastic job in his reserve appearances end of last season. So looking forward to seeing him get a jump into the full-time seat, like you said, as well.
Up next is the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin have the second lowest win ratio. Then with only 5 Grand Prix wins, they've had no drivers' championships either, but they have had the constructors. I must say, bronze is very spread out in terms of constructors' championships. It's fantastic, but I do think that bronze is probably one of the most exciting championships of all 3 divisions, of all 4 divisions, I should say, with 100% as well. Because bronze, you can never really count anyone in or out of the championship, in my opinion. And here's one man you can definitely not count out of the championship. A Grand Prix winner, the newest Grand Prix winner, I believe, in bronze. Rocket Leader making his 51st Grand Prix start then. But there's been one thing that's really been the chink in Rocket Lee's armour. It's not been qualifying 6 pole positions, but it's been getting to the end of the races there, Alex.
Yeah, hopefully this time consistency, like you said at the very beginning, was going to be key for Rocket League then, and he can charge on then for a championship fight as well then, alongside Reflection as well then. So that is going to be a two hours then for the Aston Martins, looking pretty good indeed then, that team, I think.
Is that your early prediction for Constructors' Championship?
I don't want to jinx it, but go on then. There we go. That's it. Locked in. It's locked in.
That said, I'll be rewatching this later on the season. I'm saying if Aston Martin doesn't do well, it's Alex's fault then. Up next is the Mercedes team. Of course, Mercedes have never had any constructors or drivers' championships in bronze so far. Unfortunately, for Mercedes, has been a bit dry. Unfortunately, in success in bronze. I know 5 Grand Prix wins in 3 pole positions in 165 Grand Prix starts. I've got no life, Alex, I must say. I just sat and worked this all out since
brilliant.
the last race of the season.
I like it.
Well, at least someone does that. Out of the off the wheel is Marsky. We just spoke about reflections, of course, coming down from silver to bronze. Reflections, of course, a driver who got promoted into silver a few seasons ago. Marsky didn't really enjoy himself in silver, but hats off to him to sticking with it, because I must say I wouldn't have stuck with it. Very impressive stuff indeed there for Marsky. And of course we got Goddard's also making the step up to full-time racing as well, with five Grand Prix starts then, making his 6th Grand Prix start then in Australia, Alex.
Yeah, a good lineup then. Like I said, Marsky and Reflection, of course, didn't have the best of seasons last season, but hopefully they can bounce back then in bronze this one. And of course, Goddard's in another one, jumping into a full-time seat then on his first full season as well then. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I must say I'm a big fan of our two new debutants going. Well, they're not debutants, are they? But two drivers are stepping up full time in the in bronze. And of course, one of the reasons why I stepped aside, because I'm quite a nice guy, and it's not the fact is I'm very slow at the new game. Not far from it. But no, it's great to see those two drivers coming in then, because I'm a big fan of both those drivers, and also they were much quicker than me as well, which I realised that actually it's not an old man sport anymore. Anyway, Red Bull Racing. Bit like the Mercedes team, they might be good in real life in Formula 1, but not very good in bronze, unfortunately. No Constructors' Championships, unfortunately, for the Red Bull team then. Who was off the wheel there, Alex? I'm sorry, I was trying to look for my spreadsheet.
Is the fan favourite of Duncan Dave, and is the first for the Red Bull team.
Duncan David making his 79th Grand Prix start then, Duncan Davis. And another fan favourite of Real Ashton Army as well. Two drivers at lower end of the field, Alex, but I must say, they may be lower end of the field, but they always get such a good reception in the comments and also in the Discord as well. It's great to have both drivers on the grid, in my opinion.
Yeah, both drivers racing for Christian Horner, so I'm not sure they're going to be that fond of that, but there we go then. But yeah, hopefully they can do well then for the Red Bull team then this season.
I must say, yeah, they might be fan favourites, but whoever they're still favourites of Christian Horner again, this one remains to be seen. McLaren Mercedes next off the board then. Of course, one Constructors' Championship, one Drivers' Championship as well. 26 Grand Prix wins in this category as well. Third in the all-time winners list behind the Ferrari and Alpine machines then. First off the board then, I think we got another fan favourite. I must say that bronze is all about fan favourites. Making his 10th Grand Prix start is San then. San then, unfortunately, has got a quite high ratio of DNF so far, and his best result is 7th position so far in his career. But I do remember that there's a couple of Grand Prix where he was was quicker than a hiccup, but did come under to have issues with strategy and things like that. And then, of course, it's Jamie, who was the latest driver to get promoted into the bronze seat towards the end of last season, making his 7th Grand Prix start. Only a best result of 5th, and that's a very young lineup in terms of experience there, Alex, but I do feel that both drivers have got podiums and maybe even wins in their future.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty good lineup as well then from McLaren. Maybe they can jump on then from their early experiences last season, like you said, then jumping into the cars later on in the season. And of course, it being a short season as well then, so we'll see how the McLaren fare then in season 10.
And of course, it is season 10, isn't it? Gosh, I got to say, it feels very odd saying season 10 of bronze and silver, isn't it? Goodness me. And it feels like not too long ago that we started our our journey in Russia, I believe, wasn't it, for silver? Mm-hmm. Haas is off the board next. They were runner-up in season 2 and season 3 of 8 Grand Prix wins, 32 pole positions. Goodness gracious me. It sounds like a Leclerc in terms of conversion rate there. Liam is off the board then. Of course, I had a great rapport with Liam through last season as well, making his 10th Grand Prix start as well, and his best result of 13th, but I do think that Liam was starting to get into his own then, was involved in I think first quarter shenanigans in Brazil, and I think also I hit him as well, so because I'm not racing this time, Liam's got much better chance of not being involved with any fracas. And then we've got Vintage, of course, the most experienced driver in bronze history, making his 116th Grand Prix start there for Vintage there, with only 6 DNFs, Alex. Goodness gracious me.
Yeah, the true Geordie is back then. He's going to be in the Haas then alongside Liam then. So Liam hopefully going to kick on then now that you've got yourself off the grid finally. But yeah, good luck then to Liam and Vintage for the Haas team.
And finally, Racing Bulls. Thank goodness for that. I know you used to call them Racing Bulls last season, Alex, but now they are officially Racing Bulls and not RB. What a rubbish name that was. Oh, goodness me. Bring back Minardi, or bring back Toro Rosso or Alpha. Well, maybe not AlphaTauri, actually. Anyway, enough about that. Goodness me, I need to get off my horse, don't I? Red Arm Racing Bulls. That's going to be me all season. I'm going to be called them Red Bull, ain't I? Hungry Styles is first off the board. 102nd Grand Prix start, then joint the second most starts there with a one Cirrus Mush. Then Styles, I must say, a lot of untapped potential with Styles there. 4 podiums there, but he has got 21 DNS there, but that isn't too bad in the grand scheme of things. And Slayer has finally got a proper teammate this season as well, making his 77th Grand Prix start down under in Australia, and only 3 DNFs as well for Slayer. 2 very good drivers there, 2 drivers that have been around the block, as the old saying goes there. But I want to talk about Styles, Alex. Do you think that this is Styles' season to get promoted into silver?
I think there's been glimpses of it last season as well, for both drivers, to be fair, actually. I'm looking forward to seeing how both Styles and Slayer fare for the Racing Bulls team.
I love the movable graphics. It's fantastic, isn't it? Oh, yeah. It's great. It feels like the opening of, football, like when the Premier League starts, they walk towards the screen. I love it. There are 20 drivers there for bronze at season 10. And excuse me as I look down at my phone. Goodness me. Oh, yeah. I want to pick, Alex. You know I want to pick, but I'm not going to, because I'm going to change my mind anyway. But that is a fantastic lineup for bronze, and also a lack of ginger as well, which is also never a bad sign either. On to silver, and at season 10 for silver as well. Goodness gracious me. I'm too honest, I'm getting too old for this, Alex, because we've done 13 seasons of this. It doesn't feel like that long ago at all. I think we're like 5-6 years of doing this now as well. Good gracious me. 10 teams then are on the wheel. First one off the wheel then. Who is it going to be? It is going to be... That's Kick Sauber, Alex. Oh, I love it. Kick Sauber, then, of course, they have not had any... I think they've had a Drivers' Championship, actually, but they've not had no Constructors' Championship at all, unfortunately, but they have had 7 Grand Prix wins in their 40 Grand Prix starts as well. Of course, it's quite low with Sauber because they've had a couple of name changes since they first started. Alex, I got to say, Kaidal is his birthday today, and his name is very big on that wheel there. I think we just wanted to celebrate his birthday. Fantastic. I love that. It's Anyway, let's get on with the show, shall we? Oh gosh, first off is Farf. Actually, he's probably in the bath as we're talking about this now. Farf, of course, we're talking about being around the block. Farf's been around the block a few times. Going to make his 137th Grand Prix start in Australia. His best result as third in the World Championship back in season 7-ish or something like that. Never had a pole position, which I'm quite surprised by Farf. And I'm going to be honest, I think Vessier was sweating there because he thought he was going to have to be partnered up with Farf again. But unfortunately for Vessier, it's not. Unfortunately for Camera Racer, it's Camera Racer then in the Kick Sauber. Camera Racer making his 97th Grand Prix start. He's already got a Grand Prix win, 4 pole position as well. That's a very good lineup, Alex, there. But it's 2 drivers then that can seem to be sink or swim sometimes in Grand Prix racing.
Yeah, I think just consistency is going to be key for that team to see if they can do well this championship. But we'll find out then in Australia, or throughout the season as well.
Yeah, just in Australia. Then Farf will probably be kicked out. I must say, I do tend to make out Farf, but he does make some really entertaining races. And as the Camera Racer as well, I do enjoy Silver quite a bit, to be fair. Anyway, it's the Racing Bulls next off the wheel. Then probably the second best car in terms of looks on the grid, in my opinion. And Kai Dao, who is the birthday boy, which basically I've also kind of. Alex, I think I've kind of showed everyone our secrets as well as we're pre-recording this. But Kaidal is first off the board. Of course, Kaidal, hats off to Kaidal. He got some points towards the end of last season, but halfway through the season, he did start to really hit his stride then, making his 29th Grand Prix start, and he's only had 3 DNFs in his career, which is fantastic. And Gordo, who was third in the championship a season or 2 ago, Grand Prix winner, pole sitter as well, 19 podiums, 146 starts, only 10 DNFs. Goodness me, the accolades just roll off the tongue for Gordo.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing, hopefully Kaidal will then have a better season than last. Like I said, towards the end, he started to improve. quite well then. So we'll see what he can do then in the new era. And of course, Gorda then, he didn't have the best of his seasons last season, as we've seen from the previous two before that. But hopefully he can bounce back then at the beginning of F125.
McLaren is next off the board. McLaren are a bit skinny. I wish I was skinny. It was a bit skinny in terms of success in silver. Only 7 Grand Prix wins there for McLaren. That's actually the lowest. With Sauber, to be fair. But Sauber's only raced 40 times in silver, whilst McLaren have raced 188 times. Yes, I went through it all. Off the board first is Markey. Markey returning to silver. Markey missed a lot of last season because I think he was moving house, and I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I hate moving house, Alex. It's the most awful thing in the world, in my opinion. Mainly also because I realise how much crap I've got as well, which isn't very good. Hopefully I don't get demonetised for that, because that is awful language as well. I'm too relaxed, Alex. I don't know what's going wrong with me. Nigel, who's a champion, of course, in silver, the first ever ALR champion as well. Really good. Oh my gosh, it's Varanov.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. I apologise, Varanov. Please don't take me off your Christmas card list. Shocking stuff indeed, Alex. Goodness me, this is terrible, isn't it? We need to be professional, Alex. Come on. Get me back on the straight and narrow.
Sorry.
Haas is next off the board. I've completely lost myself now. Haas is next off the board.
It was Markey and Varanov in the McLaren, just to clarify. Now we're on to the Haas team. Okay, no, sorry everyone.
Shocking. Haas, but talking of, okay, let's get on. Come on, a bit of decorum in this. Haas, of course, the second most successful team in silver history. 2 Constructors' Championship as well, then, so there's a lot to live up then for both these drivers. And that's Nigel. That's Nigel, and goodness me. Talk about success. Haas, Nigel, that's a perfect partnership in my opinion. Driver, of course, that's just screams championships. Nigel, though, has been a bit up and down, really. Consistency has been lacking there for Nigel, but it's great to see him really tackle the championship again. It's fantastic. And Dan, goodness me, the champion from bronze last season. Well, should we give the championship to Haas now, Alex?
It's a championship-winning driver lineup for sure then for Haas. Then, of course, Dan then with the current championship from bronze, like you said. Nigel, of course, a former silver and gold winner of the championship, that is, as well then. So we'll see how Haas are going to fare, but that's going to looking very good indeed.
That really is. I'm not excited by it. I'm purring. I don't have a cat either. I don't know if it's someone's motorbike outside. They just want to show off their enormous genitalia. Anyway, Williams is up next, and of course, the Williams had 10 Grand Prix starts there. Not 10 Grand Prix starts, 10 Grand Prix wins there for the Williams team. I've been working very hard. That's why I'm a bit lackluster today. I don't really know what the excuse is a lot of the time, Alex, but that's my excuse today. But Williams had 10 Grand Prix wins there. 187 Grand Prix starts because they missed a race or two a few seasons ago. Ginner is off the board there. Ginner making the step up from bronze to silver. Ginner did struggle in silver a few seasons ago, but Ginner does have the pace, doesn't he? Does have the talent. He's a man that's always on pole position. He seems to reserve that pole position quite a lot, but a bit like Leclerc, he does struggle to convert that. And the Duke, yes. In my opinion, I think Duke is the championship favourite. Grand Prix winner, only 15 Grand Prix starts, 2 pole positions as well. I think that the Duke came in last season and changed the ball game along with a couple of other drivers like Flippy and Silver. But I think the Duke is going to be a championship contender, Alex.
I definitely think so. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Duke fares in this season. And of course, Jenna, then looking forward to seeing how he takes on Silver as well. Then hopefully has a better season than his previous Silver season, of course. But did very well last season in bronze as well then. So looking forward to seeing how they both line up together.
And the most successful constructor in silver history, 39 Grand Prix wins there for Mercedes, with 33 pole position as well, is the Mercedes team. They've also had 2 constructors championships as well, and of course 2 drivers championships there for Mercedes. So by the signs of that, you want to be in this Mercedes car, don't you? First off the board is Luke, who was runner-up last season in the bronze championship. Of course, the bronze championship went down to the wire. Remember what happened to Marski? He was runner-up in bronze, wasn't he, the season before, and he really struggled last season. Is that going to be a pattern for Luke then? I'll get Alex's view in just a few moments, because I'm actually now paying attention to the wheel, which I should have been doing all along. Next off the board is Jay Hings, and it is Jay Hings, isn't it? It is Jay Hings, going a bit premature there. 41 Grand Prix starts for Jay Hings. Never had a pole position, never had a Grand Prix win, but he's always consistent, Jay Hings is, and that's very interesting. I cannot make heads or tails about that lineup, Alex, there, because what do you think? Do you think that Luke will be able to really get into silver and really kick on then, or do you think he's going to struggle like Marski did, especially after being runner-up last season?
That's interesting. It's two runners-up from bronze in previous seasons, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to fare, actually, in Mercedes, and I think they're going to do much better than you think. So, looking forward to that. Red Bull next.
Oh, thank you. And Alex throwing me in the shade there of his stats as well. Gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah, Jay Hings, goodness gracious me. Thank you. Yes, Red Bull. 14 Grand Prix wins for the Red Bull racing team, with 2 Constructors' Championships as well in season 1 and in season 9 as well. Goodness me, that's a very big spread as well. Talking of spreads, here's Kiki. Hopefully for Kiki's point of view, that he wants to spread out his Grand Prix wins and pole positions, because at the moment he's got 7 pole positions but only 2 wins there. And for a driver caliber like Kiki, I do feel that he's probably disappointed by that. And he's an admin now, so I'm allowed to do all this kind of banter. And Coop, as in Soup, also going to silver as well. And I feel that. I'm changing my mind already, Alex. I quite like that team of Coop and Kiki. I think they could be Constructors' Champions.
Yes. You said it, so I'm going to have to agree with it. But no, I think that's a good team. That is, to be fair, an admin team. Unfortunately for the admins,
so they better win. So if Red Bull, if they don't win, then unfortunately you're out, sadly. So that's how it goes. Aston Martin is next. Aston Martin, of course, 14 wins and 9 pole positions. Never been constructors or drivers champions there, but that can change this season. Then, albeit I've already made some predictions in silver this season. That's what I like about silver, because I think the silver is probably one of the most unpredictablest championships. Even though I said that about bronze about 10 minutes ago, but never mind. R2 beat then, of course, a driver that has completely changed his discipline, because he came in as a 100% realistic performance driver, but he's now making his 49th Grand Prix start. Then he won the opening race down under in Australia last season, didn't he? So can he get 2 wins in Australia on the bounce then? And Tori, and of course Tori then, of course, making his 13th Grand Prix start as well, and I think was just a bit behind the pace last season of the top runners there. So I do think that Tori could be in the promotion spots. Do you think that the championship's just out of reach for Tori or R2B?
No, I think that's going to be a pretty good team again for Aston Martin. So they had a pretty good team in bronze. They've got a pretty good team in silver as well then. So I think that's going to be quite a close one to call. Let's just put it that way. I'm not going to jump on that just like you would, but we'll crack on to Ferrari.
15 Grand Prix wins for Ferrari and 20 pole positions as well. 40 podiums. Goodness gracious me, those numbers are ridiculous. Talking about the joint constructors, well, we haven't mentioned the joint constructors. I do love a bit of the joint constructors as well. Remember that the joint constructors is added up from points from bronze, silver, and gold, then, of course, which I know everyone's aware of that, but I like to repeat myself. Off the board first is the man who's making his 80th Grand Prix start down under in Australia. It is Irvine, a Grand Prix winner for Irvine. Now, of course, he's come up through the ranks from cobalt to bronze and now to silver. He's plateaued in silver a bit, I feel, but I also feel as well that he gets involved in some scuffles, Irvine does, but I do feel that if he improves his qualifying, then maybe he won't be involved in the carbon fibre zone. And Lewis Riley, Lewis Riley raced in, I think he was the most racingist driver. Is that right? Racingist? I don't know. He basically participated in a lot of races last season for gold and silver. 23rd Grand Prix start in Australia with 3 fast laps, but I do think he's going to be the newest driver to win a Grand Prix this season, Alex.
Yeah, looking good indeed as well then for Ferrari. Hopefully Irvine can bounce back as well, like you just said. He had a bit of a inconsistent season just here and there with results, but we'll see what he can do then. Of course, Lewis has been really good then since he joined the silver grid as well then, so hopefully he can step up from the Alpine team now into the Ferrari as well, but we'll go on to Alpine for the final team.
And of course, the most prettiest car on the grid then. Of course, Alpine hoping to get their 10th Grand Prix win in Australia, which will be a very good thing indeed then. And I think both these drivers would love to have a Grand Prix win, wouldn't they? Mr. Raging Bull then is the... Gosh, I looked away from the wheel then. I was like, gosh, have I done it wrong again? Mr. Raging Bull making his 16th Grand Prix start in Australia. Best result of 5th, which I was quite surprised by because Mr. Raging Bull had flashes of brilliance. And throughout last season as well, I think a bit like Irvine, he was involved in a bit of carbon fibre zones here and there. Otherwise, I think he would have been on the podium, maybe even a Grand Prix win as well. So a bit unlucky there. And Vessier then making his 60th Grand Prix start as well and had a couple of podiums here and there for Vessier, of course, again promoted from bronze a few seasons ago. And for Vessier, I think just outside the promotion spots, if he can get rid of some of the issues he has, and also he doesn't have Farf, which is a massive thing that held him back last season, Alex.
I was about to say that he's probably very happy that he's just with anybody but Farf, but there we go. And there is the 20 drivers then for the Silver Season 10. And fantastic lineup indeed. There's quite a few. Well, to be fair, I think there's probably 10 that you could pick for potential champions there as well. So looking forward to seeing how Silver unfolds then in Australia and then through the rest of the season as well. Then that's formidable stuff indeed.
That really is. No, I'm not going to. I've already said it halfway through the draw anyway, so basically, I'm sorry whoever I've predicted is going to win, because it's going to not go well, is it? But I do love a prediction, Alex. It's like really trying to do the lottery every week, and it just doesn't go well. Anyway, 10 teams in for gold, then of course it's the top championship of ALR. We've got a dominating champion as well. Can that be turned around for the 19 competitors? First driver off the wheel, first team off the wheel, is one of the most successful teams in ALR Gold history, with 3 drivers' championships, 3 constructors' championships as well. They're the joint, I say the one of, they're actually the joint most successful team in Gold history, then, along with Renault. Renault have competed since, I think, season 5 or something like that, and Williams, but they seem to be still up there as well, if I ever get my words out. 37 Grand Prix wins, 29 pole positions as well for the Williams team, making their 249th Grand Prix start in ALR Gold on Australia. And first one off the board is the Super Sweet. It is Troy, and of course, Season 8 World Champion. 132nd Grand Prix start with 17 wins, 9 pole positions, 45 podiums. These numbers, again, are too ridiculous now, Alex, for me. They're making me feel very old. But he's had 2 Constructors' Championships as well, which is very good for yourself, Alex, because you have not been a Constructors' Champion yet, and I got to say, all the other admins from last season have been Constructors' Champions. How do you feel about that?
Troy, I'm so sorry. I'm just so sorry. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Troy race, but I don't think he's going to be that happy with that team, unfortunately. But there we go then. That is the Williams team, the first team off the wheel. Then thank God I'm gone.
To be fair, though, you are the most got the most starts in Gold history, Alex. So let's. I'll feed you that bone. On to Ferrari next. Then, of course, Ferrari have been Constructors' Champions in season 10. I was going to say last season, then, but no, season 10 of ALR. And of course, 20 Grand Prix wins, 24 pole positions as well for the Scuderia, which is really good. 17 never been Constructors' Champions, though. Oh yeah, they have been Constructors' Champions. They never had a Drivers' Champion, I should say. Then next off the board at first then is actually Delando. Delando was runner-up in silver last season. He did struggle in gold this season before, but hats off to Delando to really having another bite of the cherry. And I was quite surprised by Delando's performance because when he was stepping out to be a super sub in gold, he was superb. I remember Austria a few seasons ago. He was superb. So hopefully he can rekindle that form then. Menace Max, of course, only a one-time Grand Prix winner, which absolutely astounds me, Alex, there. I'm going to confidently predict that Menace Max will be in the championship fight. Menace Max will add more wins to his tally as well. He's already got 9 pole positions, so...
Oh, sorry, that's me now, is it? I'm looking forward to seeing Dylan back. Of course, then hopefully he can come from his previous season as well and do a bit better than that one, of course, as well. Then and Menace Max, I think, is another driver that's probably a candidate, if not a favourite, even for the championship or the Drivers' Championship, that is, as well. Then, so we'll see how he fares then. The Green Machine then is next off the wheel.
I quite like this kick salver design. I think it's better than last year. And of course, they are constructors champions as well. The Sauber team were last year. Then, of course, they have 11 Grand Prix wins now to their tally as well. Of course, that they powered Sam Swift Ninja to the World Championship last season in absolutely fine style. First off the wheel is Legends, and Legends has just got better, better, and better. 46 Grand Prix starts for Legends. I think he's going to get a podium this season. I think actually he's going to be our newest Grand Prix winner on the gold grid then. So if that don't happen, all you Legend fans out there, blame the Ginger one. I reckon Favre might be Ginger actually. So yeah, blame Favre. You reckon he'll go Ginger? Sam Swift Ninja! Goodness me, he is back with the winning team then. Why change a winning formula, Alex?
Yeah, Kick Sauber then, of course, retained their Drivers' Championship and, of course, the Constructors' Champion as well then from last season, and previous seasons as well, to be fair. Legend then as well, partnering up with Sam Swift, and that is going to be a pretty formidable team indeed.
That really is. And of course, Sam Swift Ninja, two-time Constructors Champion, three-time World Champion, most successful driver in ALR history now as well. 51 starts and 24 Grand Prix wins. That is redonkulous stats. Absolutely redonkulous. It's like it's a video game. Haas are next off the board. Haas are next off the board. They were very successful in gold, in silver, not very successful in gold, sadly. There are only 14 Grand Prix wins and 13 pole positions there. But let's see if these drivers can change the mentality of the American team, which of course, Jamie Morris is at first off the board then. Of course, Jamie, a Grand Prix winner. I think that Jamie didn't live up to his potential last season. I think that Jamie, if he can get the consistency in, especially that form that he shows around the United States Grand Prix and the American side of the championship, I think that he can be a championship contender. And of course, a former silver champion, the former Brad Pitt as well. And I said Legend's probably the newest driver winner, but I think actually the potentially Brad Pitt could be.
I think that's a pretty good lineup, to be fair, because they were very close indeed to getting into those podium places then and fighting for those wins as well last season in occasions as well. So I think we might be looking at a pretty good Haas team there with Jamie and Brabbitt.
I made the most of Haas because, they're not going anywhere. But of course, they are not the only American team on the grid because Cadillac are coming in for season 15 of ALR, which is fantastic. Thank goodness for that. As we all know about my opinions on new teams and stuff. Anyway, Mercedes is next off the wheel. 21 Grand Prix starts, 25 pole positions. That looks quite even there, doesn't it? For the Mercedes team there. No championships, so in ALR Gold. And the close they came was actually back in season 3. Goodness me. Not looking too good there for the Mercedes team. Keza was off the board, I think, there, whilst I was waffling on about that. Keza then off the wheel then. Keza had a bit of frustration last season, didn't he? He has a Grand Prix win, and we did say that I thought that Keza was going to bounce on and have a multiple Grand Prix wins, but unfortunately that wasn't the case there. And Boxtel, I think there's a similar story to Keza, really. Both drivers have had really good past successes, but they just didn't kick on last season. But Boxtel really found his feet towards the latter end of last season, though, Alex. Do you think that Boxtel first can make a championship challenge?
I think that's going to be pretty good, to be fair, that Mercedes team. I think they've both got pace. They've both got the racecraft and consistencies in there as well. Then, so I might lean towards that one as a contender, an outside contender maybe as well. Then, so I'm not going to predict anything, but I'm just going to say it.
Xbox record that. No, PlayStation record that. Red Bull next off the wheel. Red Bull have not had any success since the opening season of ALR. Of course, when they were powered by the Nigel Power back in the first ever season of ALR. 19 wins there for the Red Bull team with 13 pole positions as well. Majority of that actually came from Jochen and from Nigel. Goodness me, way back when. Equals first off the board then. Of course, Equals won that incredible Canadian Grand Prix, but sadly for Equals, it was commentated by Favre, but almost perfect day. 107 Grand Prix starts then for Equals in Down Under in Australia. 3 podiums as well. I think he got a podium last season as well. I think it was Brazil potentially. Kaz Van Von, of course, one of our newest Grand Prix winners in the LR Gold last season. 3 pole positions as well for Kaz. And Kaz and Equals, very similar stats there, and 2 drivers that would be very much consistent point scorers.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to be consistent point scorers. I mean, throughout the whole season, to be fair. Yeah, looking forward if they can kick on, then they go for those podiums a bit more consistently, or regularly, and maybe even a win or two here. Then we'll have to wait and see. But that's looking pretty good indeed.
In terms of stats, Alpine are probably one of the least successful constructors on the grid. There are only 4 wins, but they have had 21 pole positions if you want to balance it out, which is very top ever there, isn't it? Goodness gracious me. Yeah, Alpine then. So let's see if one of these drivers come off the wheel then and give Alpine their first constructors championship and drivers championship in history. MHD then is first off the wheel then. Hopefully he doesn't change his name this season because I must admit that I really do struggle to keep up with these name changes. I reckon we should just go back to how the PlayStation used to be, Alex, where you couldn't change your name, but that's because I'm a grumpy old man. But 18 starts then for MHD. When we reach the Australian Grand Prix, a podium for it is a podium, not a pole. A podium there for MHD, did struggle last season there, but he did start to perform towards the end then. And Pease as well. Pease, goodness me, he's been around forever and a day then. He made his debut back in season 4 in Australia with 7 Grand Prix wins and 22 podiums there. I think that's the 5th highest there on the grid there for Pease, Alex.
Yeah, looking good indeed as well then for MHD and for Pease as well then. And like I said, hopefully they can just sort of kick on. They've had, Pease obviously jumped into the car during the season last season, and MHD did have his issues as well, the struggles throughout the season. But like I said, this time hopefully they can bounce back then and kick off the season well in the beginning.
Aston Martin, 2 runner-up spots in ALR back in Season 8 and Season 11 there. 18 Grand Prix wins, 11 podiums as well there. 11 pole positions and 11 podiums. We need to find a new word apart from poles and podiums because I think the word is just too similar. Or is it just me being an idiot? It's probably me being an idiot, isn't it? Anyway, on with the show. It's Nameless first off. Coming up from silver to gold. Nameless has had a crack at gold before in the past, but he's a completely different driver, Nameless is. And I think he was very unlucky not to win silver. But of course, sometimes that's just the way motorsport is, isn't it? There, sport in general, you could be unlucky or you could be unlucky. Cameron Partley, Constructors Champion, winning Formula last season for the Sauber team. Ups and downs there for Cameron. Really helps his teammate. But Cam does not want to be known as a team player, does he? He wants to be Grand Prix winner. He wants to win championships of his own.
Yeah, for sure, and I think hopefully, like I said, from everyone else, pretty much apart from myself, can kick on this season and do well. Nameless, of course, jumping up from silver, staying in the Aston Martin from silver last season as well. Then this time for Nameless, so looking forward to seeing how he's going to go. And they're taking on taken to the Aston Martin team as we go for the Racing Ball next, or penultimate car off the wheel, I should say.
Well remembered. I've forgotten Nameless last Martin. It's because I've been hibernating for a month. The next up then is the Racing Ball. Thank goodness for that. Not RB anymore. I'm going to be honest. The Racing Ball and Red Bull, I'm going to be moaning about that next year, where they're just too similar. First off the board is a Multo. A Multo, 22 pole positions now, of course, has the joint most pole positions in gold history. If he gets a pole position in Australia, then that means that he has the most pole positions in ALR gold history, which would be fantastic. Immortal, I do feel that Immortal is it a step too far to challenge Sam Swift Ninja? Sam Swift Ninja seemed to be in a different postcode some of the races last season, but this is a different game. This is a different handling model, and it is going to be absolutely. I think it's going to be fantastic. Mumford really struggled on his return to gold last season, making his 57th Grand Prix start for the team, Alex.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how they're going to fare as well. Then Immortal can potentially, I hope he can push on and just get those wins, those pole positions converted into wins, I should say, as well, then, which will leap him up the order as well. Then Mumford then hopefully has a better season than last season as well. Then, but fair play as well, like you said earlier on for, I can't remember who it was now, but fair play for Mumford just sticking it out and getting to the end as well. Then McLaren last off the wheel then for gold.
And 2-time Constructors Champions as well. They've had 3 Drivers Champions in their rank, so Chazza and Flippy are going to be over the moon with that, aren't they? I'm looking forward to Flippy being in a golden because he did a really good job when he did a substitute appearance last season. And Chazza, a 2-time pole sitter as well. I remember in Japan he got a pole position and it was absolutely superb. He was 3rd in the Season 6 Championship as well, Chazza was there. But can Chazza rekindle that old spark there for Chazza? I think he he can, even if he is from Middlesbrough, because I think that team is still trying to find their own spark as well. Flippy, can he go from silver to gold? Can he go from silver and chance for gold? Yes, he can, Alex. That is my opinion.
Yep, I think I have to agree with you on that one. Both, like I said, Trezor hopefully can bounce back to his best, and then Flippy then is going to be taking on that championship momentum from last season into gold as well. Then fantastic stuff indeed.
And there are our 60 drivers drawn. There have been 80 drivers on this presentation as well. Thank you very much to Alex then for joining me in the gantry then. Of course, throughout the season, and Luke is going to be commentating on his spin. I cannot wait to hear Luke's comments. It's been brilliant. 70. Alex will be in the booth for bronze. Sadly, you got me in silver for silver and gold. Then it's going to be a fantastic season as well. Join us in 2 weeks for the first race of the season down under in Australia. Cannot wait. See you there. Goodbye.